Ahoj, ja som lektorka Kika a ty počúvaš podcast Prakticky anglicky. Mojím cieľom je pomôcť ti na tvojej ceste k plynulej angličtine a ukázať ti, že učenie sa jazykov je skrátka lifestyle. Tak čo, si ready? Hello, milá angličtinárka, milý angličtinár, verím, že sa máš dnes skvelé a približuješ sa k svojmu anglickému cieľu. Welcome back to the show Cestovateľské denníky. Zo Spotify štatistik vyplýva, že toto je celkom obľúbený koncept u mojich poslucháčov, preto sa počujeme pri ďalšej časti s názvom Ako zažiť Sejšely bez cestovky a lacnejšie. Pretože jediné, čo naozaj na toto potrebuješ, je priemerná znalosť angličtiny a trochu odvahy. S oboma ti viem trošku pomôcť, takže si neváhaj tento rok na Vianoce vypýtať od tvojho okolia darčekovú poukážku na lekcie angličtiny so mnou alebo kurz Ready vycestovať. Prípadne obdaruj ty svoje okolie darčekom, ktorý, dovolím si tvrdiť, naozaj dokáže zvýšiť kvalitu života. Stačí, keď mi napíšeš na Insta, kde ma nájdeš ako Lektorka Kika, alebo na e-mail kristinavohnutová@gmail.com. Pre ďalšie infošky pozeraj určite aj popis. Z tejto dovolenky mám aj aftermoviečko, nájdeš ho v linku nižšie. Ak je pre teba táto epizóda ťažšia na porozumenie, na YouTube nájdeš verziu aj s prepisom. Poháč mi všade follows, veľmi ma potešíš a na mojom webe si môžeš stiahnuť zadarmo už niekoľko e-bookov. No a my už poďme na to, pretože mám pocit, že toto bude trošku dlhší podcast, keďže sme toho naozaj pozažívali veľa a chcem s tebou toho veľa zazdieľať. Poďme na to, verím, že so mnou vydržíš. So today I'm taking you on a trip, a virtual one, to the stunning Seychelles, where my boyfriend and I spent over 2 weeks of pure island vibes in March this year. Trust me, this place is a tropical dream, but with some real-life moments you gotta know about. On the 6th of March, we touched down on Mahé, the main island, after a long-haul flight with a layover in Addis Ababa on Ethiopian Airlines. During the layover, one African woman was following us, which was a little weird. Actually, the whole domestic flights area was kind of rough, like real African rough, but don't worry, once you leave the area in the Seychelles, it is more chill. Coming back to our landing, the vibe was definitely tropical, palm trees everywhere, one main road with cool African feel. We had to swap money at the airport because, Seychelles uses the Sejšely rupee. Áno, tak sa to vyslovuje. Pozerala som si to v slovníku Sejšely rupee. Sejšelské rupie. But many times you can pay by card, so there is nothing to worry about. We like to keep some cash in our pocket just in case though. Our first accommodation looked fab from the outside with a killer view, but surprise! It was a bit dirty inside. We had to do a mini cleanup ourselves because the cleaning lady, the maid, wasn't coming till the next day. As compensation, I agreed on a late checkout with the owner, which really helped us on the day we were traveling from Mahé to Pralin. Heads up. Rent a car. We would have been lost without one because public transport is basically a mystery to me. No idea how often it runs or where exactly it goes. Plus, it gets hot there, like really hot. So you want to be carrying a big bottle of water, some cool fizzy drinks, snacks, maybe a blanket or something for the beach. The car was a lifesaver. I can definitely recommend Papa Car Rental. Great conditions, no trouble. Our first beach trip was to Anse Soleil. Honestly, one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen. Anse means beach, but I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, so yes, you either hike down the hill there or drive, but be careful with the steep path. There is a gate on the way, but don't stress about it, just go through. 2 little beach restaurants made it perfect for a chill day. We got sunburned, even with SPF 50. Lesson learned. Reapply constantly. In the evening, we spotted tons of beds flying around. Spoiler alert, more on those beds later. You will be surprised. Next, we hit Takamaka Beach, busier but still stunning. Crystal clear water all over Seychelles is a given. Peter even spotted a turtle swimming nearby. Snorkeling's great, but you gotta find the right spot. It's not as effortless as I believe it is in the Maldives. Heads up though, some local parties happen and there is a tiny crime risk. We read on TripAdvisor about a guy who got his bag stolen by someone hiding in the bushes near the beach, so watch your stuff. We had 0 issues, but yes, stay aware. The next day, we headed to a viewpoint up in the hills. The day before, we couldn't get there because it was pouring rain, like seriously heavy. The road was a mess. But this time we made it and the view was stunning. There was even a telescope to see far into the distance, all the way to the first beach I mentioned. And guess what? It was free. A super friendly security guy even took photos of us together. So it was a lovely evening trip, though the place closes around 6 or 7. So plan accordingly. Food-wise, don't just stick to fries and fried fish, though they are good. Try some local dishes. We hit some food trucks with surprisingly amazing bolognese spaghetti. Who knew? And one local joint served us rice, lentils, veggies, and meat that was straight fire. Also, fresh coconuts were a must-have. We devoured some shrimp noodles, fresh fish, tuna, but the shrimp noodles won my heart. And street food is definitely the way to go. Or cooking yourself, because restaurants can get pricey, often more than back home. And I'd say the quality is not as high or what you would expect for that price. In stores, you'll even find Czech products, which was a fun surprise. We found Tang. Remember that orange powdered drink from years ago is no longer sold in Slovakia, so that was a nostalgic find. And you can find almost everything: pasta, sauces, yogurts, canned goods, sweet, salty snacks. But fresh fruit and veggies are best bought at markets because shops don't stock much. Sunsets, unreal. Total postcard moments every evening, yes. We cruise into Victoria, the capital of Mahé. Fun fact, some restaurants close on weekends, so time your visit right, because yes, when we came in it was closed. We explored a botanical garden that was open, filled with giant turtles. They are literally everywhere, even chilling by restaurants, but honestly, you can skip the botanical garden, it wasn't worth the money. Victoria was walkable and cute. An hour stroll, including the I Love Seychelles sign, the famous clock tower, and a cool Buddhist or Hindu temple. They had a drive-in cinema where you could watch football from your car. So cool, actually. We grabbed some ice cream, did a bit of shopping, and dined at Aloha restaurant, which I gotta recommend. We snorkeled in Anse Royale that evening, which is pretty busy because it's right by the road, but from our place it was downhill and super convenient. We were always cautious with our phones and keys, using waterproof cases and plastic bags. Can't be too careful. And all of our stuff survived the water. So also we had this wild bet encounter with a local guy who basically showed off his trained bat doing tricks. Yes, trained bat doing tricks. It was kind of creepy and not my thing, but Peter loved it. The bat took papaya from his hand, a real showstopper. This was on our way to one of the beaches. It is a hike, actually, and I'd totally recommend it, even though it's pretty difficult in that weather. It's called the Anse Major Trail on Mahé. It's around 45 to 60 minutes in the heat and humidity, so it feels tougher than it sounds. But the payoff is epic. A beautiful, almost private beach at the end. The hike through the jungle was an experience in itself. Be careful. There are spiders. I will talk about spiders a little bit later. To beat the hike back, we called a boat taxi. There is this service called Happiness that runs about every hour. It costs around 150 to 200 Seychelles rupees each, which is around, let's say 10 euros, and whisked us back to the port. Super convenient and a great way to kick back after the trek. One day we visited this waterfall, and honestly it was pretty cool. The locals were jumping in and a few tourists around, and it was a bit jungly, but I really liked it. There are tons of beaches you can visit. Just check Google Maps, look at the ratings. Near our second accommodation, we actually saw stingrays in the water. We didn't even realize it at first because the sign about the race was a bit further away, so it was quite a surprise. Nothing happened, of course, but they were really close to the shore. So yes, always check the reviews on Google Maps. On our way to the ferry, we stopped by the Takamaka factory. They had turtles, rum tastings, and cocktails. It was like a little garden party. If we had known earlier, we would have visited sooner, but hey, better late than never. Then we arrived at the ferry, returned our first car, checked our luggage, and sailed off to the second island, Pralin. The speedboat ride was rough, to be honest. The waves had us tossing and turning, and one guy got seasick. I managed kinda okay. The crew was constantly keeping an eye on us. At the second accommodation, the locals kept giving us tiny bananas. They were so sweet. But pro tip, don't pack these bananas in your bag because they will get squished and make a mess. After a few days at that place, ants started to appear even in our things. I had my Converse shoes by the wall, so I had to wash them. Luckily, there was a washing machine there, just like at our first place. We had a pool, but only used it twice. This is the second accommodation that I'm talking about. The first one didn't have a pool. The weather was hot, but you'd often get a quick, intense rain shower, never the whole day. Beaches like Lazio are jaw-droppingly beautiful, though the waves can get wild, so watch your gear. We lost my sunglasses and Peter's bracelet playing in the surf, but that was our bad. Yes, my mistake. And pro tip, bring lots of sunscreen. The stuff there is crazy expensive and some have weird whitening effects. We ended up peeling the color off for days. Oh my. We tried a fruit called dunka, or cotton fruit in English. It's basically a pit covered in juicy pulp. You spit out the pit once you eat the pulp. We even smuggled one home, so our family got to taste it. We also took a day trip to, I never know how to pronounce this word, Kerios Island, something like that. Home of the giant land turtles roaming free, not like the zoo. They were very active and willing to interact with us. The best experience ever, honestly. We even went through mangrove forest to get to the other side of the island where they organized a fish barbecue. After Peter went snorkeling at St. Pierre, a popular spot nearby, but I hopped on another boat back to the shore and I chilled with a book since deep water isn't my jam. I even walked around alone as a woman. It's not the most comfortable place. Guys do say hi, but it wasn't scary at all. Staying on the main street, there were plenty of people, so it felt safe. Another day trip was on Ladakh, and renting bikes there is a must. We met some Slovak girls who showed us the way to Grand Anse and Petit Anse, the iconic beaches with those huge granite boulders. Absolutely breathtaking. This must have been the most mesmerizing beach I've ever seen, honestly. We spent about half a day on the island, and the Slovak women we met said that they had stayed for around 10 days, which is quite long because it's a small island. Honestly, 2 to 3 nights would be perfect to explore all the beaches. Tallinn, there is a virgin coconut oil factory where they sell amazing coconut jam. We brought some back home along with papaya jam and other treats. When you enter, they offer tastings of all their jams. You can also buy local coconut soap there. Before heading home, like home to Slovakia, we spent the night on Mahé near the airport just in case the ferries didn't run, but no worries, they run rain or shine. Last night had a funny moment. I bought some food that was terrible and I got followed by a homeless guy asking for booze, for drinks. I gave him the food and he was very adamant about the booze. Just, avoid the airport area. The last accommodation had one highlight. And that was actually 2. That was the view of planes landing. There aren't many flights per day, so it was a cool little surprise. Behind us was a majestic mountain. The place was on a hill, so we had to climb with our suitcases. We took a taxi because we didn't have a car anymore, and it was about 50 euros from Mahé ferry terminal to the accommodation, roughly 15 to 20 minutes. So taxis aren't super cheap, but sometimes you don't have a choice. So this was our last accommodation here, third accommodation, just for one night. At this place, the host had a domesticated bed. They treated it like a baby or dog. My partner played with it, but with some respect, definitely a unique experience. Everyone speaks English, from market vendors to hotel staff, which made getting around super easy. The locals were generally warm and friendly, totally different vibe from Zanzibar, where it feels more touristy, money driven. Let's have some random fun facts. Watch out for huge spiders outside. There are also little lizards, but they don't bother you. We saw one big cockroach, not cool. Some places online warned about cockroaches, but the car rental guy said it's not normal to see them in hotels. The one we saw was probably an outdoor kind, and it quickly disappeared from our balcony, so that was fine. Street dogs are there, but mostly in okay shape, and locals feed them. Still very sad for me. You'll see tons of tuned cars. That was funny, like a cheap little car, and tuned like you are in Fast and Furious. The ram from Takamaka is cheaper to buy back home than on the islands. Wild, right? So don't bother and don't buy it there. Don't miss Gloria's bakery near the port on Ladakh for amazing pastries, and buy the bitter lemonade drink from the brand Sejšely in any kind of convenience store. Coming back to Zanzibar, Seychelles felt different compared to Zanzibar. I was there a couple of years ago during the COVID times. Zanzibar was definitely cheaper for food and accommodation. Roads are paved and easy to get around by car, unlike Zanzibar, where many roads are gravel and get flooded when it rains. Zanzibar also feels wilder. The beaches here in the Seychelles are definitely a highlight compared to Zanzibar. Zanzibar has huge tidal shifts. Sometimes the sea retreats for kilometers, making swimming difficult. Overall, I'd say the Seychelles, you do feel the African vibe in some spots, but often you forget how far away you actually are. And that's my Seychelles story. Long, filled with beautiful beaches, epic sunsets, wild wildlife, and some real moments that make travel what it is. If you ever get the chance, seriously consider it. Thanks for hanging out and listening. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a message or drop me a comment and I will be glad to answer. Ak si to dopočúvala až sem, tak som ti veľmi vďačná. Toto bol naozaj dlhý talk, dlhý trip, ale verím, že ťa to bavilo. Verím, že ti tieto tipy pomôžu osmeliť sa, vyraziť aj za takouto dovolenkou po vlastnej osi bez nejakej cestovky za celkom slušné peniaze. Ak by si mala nejaké otázky k niečomu, no tak kľudne sa ma pýtaj, ja ti rada poradím. No a áno, nezabudni sa prihlásiť na ten cestovateľský kurz, aby angličtina nebola žiadnym problémom na tejto dovolenke. No a my sa počujeme next time. Bye bye.